Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajrakacharya Shrotra Soto His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Oh, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Today we're reading from Canto 3, Chapter 24. Text number 7 and 8. 7 is up on the board there. Avadayam staravyomni Varitrani gana ganaha Gayanti tam sma gandava Nityan yap saraso muda Avadayan stadavyomni Varitrani gana ganaha Gayanti tam sma gandava Nityan yap saraso muda. Want to try? Vadayan stadavyomni Varitrani gana ganaha Gayanti tam sma gandava Avadayam stadadamnai Varitrani gana gana Gayanti tam sma gandava Nityam yapsa saromada. Ladies? Avadayam stadavyomni Varitrani gana ganaha Gayanti tam sma gandava Yatyanti yatsaramasa. Avadayan sounded tada at that time Vyomni in the sky Varitrani musical instruments Gana ganaha the rain clouds Gayanti sang tam to him sma certainly Gandavaha the Gandavas Nityanti danced Apsaras the Apsaras Mudha Mudha in joyful ecstasy. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. At that time of his descent on earth, demigods in the form of rain clouds sounded musical instruments in the sky. The celestial musicians, the Gandharvas, sang the glories of the Lord, while celestial dancing girls, known as Apsaras, danced in joyful ecstasy. Text number 8. At that time of the Lord's appearance, the demigods flying freely in the sky showered flowers. All the directions, all the waters, and everyone's mind became very satisfied. Purport. It is learned herewith that in the higher sky there are living entities who can travel through the air without being hampered. Although we can travel in outer space, we are hampered by so many impediments, but they are not. We learn from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam that the inhabitants of the planet called Siddhaloka can travel in space from one planet to another without impediment. They showered flowers on the earth when Lord Kapila, the son of Kadama, appeared. Morning, everyone. I hope you weren't expecting Mukunda Maharaj here this morning. You got me instead. These two verses, scientifically speaking, we learn from science that the universe, we have these different planets and there's stars and there's all kinds of stuff, black holes, everything's going on there. But it seems quite boring. It's very bland. It's just stuff going on up there. There's no life, there's no nothing. But in the pages of Bhagavatam we get a different picture. It's a joyous place. The whole universe is populated by living entities. And it's a place for all living entities who are in a conditioned state to learn how to rectify themselves. So we're hearing here of the appearance of Kapila Dev and his wonderful parents, Devahuti and Kadama. In the last chapter there's many descriptions, and here we're hearing how these different personalities within the universe, they're offering their blessings, and in a joyous way they're celebrating the appearance of the Lord. In many other pastimes, this is also the case. In Lord Chaitanya's appearance, there was a very joyous occasion also. And not only during his appearance, but following that, the demigods would come and visit him daily as a little baby, and they would kind of be invisible, but they'd be sneaking around Mother Sachi's home trying to get a view of little baby Nimai. And in Lord Krishna's pastimes, again, the arrangements were made for his appearance. I want to sort of tell the story of Krishna's coming to this world a little bit here. But one other thing that's important to see with all of these different pastimes is there's either a great devotee or a combination of the demigods asking for the Lord to come and assist in whatever way they need. So the old saying is, man proposes, God disposes. So I think, for me anyway, this is kind of the point of these pastimes. We have all these different descriptions in the Bhagavatam. It's like, why are they? What's the purpose of all these things? But it's for us to see how we can approach Krishna. We can approach Lord Vishnu. We can approach these forms of the Lord in different ways. So we see how these great devotees over many, many millennia approach Krishna in different ways. So here we have Devahuti. She's asked for a son. Or she's desiring to have a son. She has already 9 daughters, but she feels like she's not going to be protected because her husband's going to go off shortly. So she's praying that she can have a son, and the son will take care of her. And obviously that son, she's wanting to instruct her in her spiritual life. So Kadama was able to make the arrangements for Krishna to appear within her womb through his devotion. And in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, can anybody remember who it was who was praying to the Lord for him to come? Advaita Acharya. So Advaita Acharya was Mahavishnu himself, but he felt he couldn't do what needed to be done. So he's praying to Krishna to come, to help with the mission of reclaiming the fallen souls back to the spiritual world. And in Lord Krishna's pastimes, who was it that took up the mantle of asking for help? Well, yeah, But Mother Bhumi first. Mother Bhumi, she realized the situation. So in the 8th canto, there's the pastime of the churning of the ocean of milk. And in there, Krishna comes many times also in that particular pastime. I think in that pastime, as the most, he actually appears in different forms in any pastime. So he assists the demigods in all different ways, again because they're asking. And then there's this big battle that ensues after Mohini gives the nectar to the demigods. So the demons, there's this big fight takes place and the demigods win that battle. So just like in warfare that we see, well, not so much today, but if you are defeated, then you retreat and you regroup, and then you come again at your enemy with a stronger force to try and defeat them again. So the demons being defeated, they decided that they would go underground for some time to regroup and get some new recruits, and then again they would attack the demigods. So they chose some kind of quiet little part of the universe, which happened to be the Earth planet, where we are. So these very powerful demons, they came. This is probably 1 or 2 generations before Krishna appeared. So these personalities were Kamsa, Jarasundha, Shishupal, and more, but they're the 3 main big guys. And they all took birth in royal families. So they, as they grew, they were the rightful heirs to the kingdom of their parents. So the demons are very aware of the Vedic culture and how things have to be done. So they knew if they just came down here and started beating everybody up, and then there would be a reaction against them. So they were powerful enough to be able to take birth in these royal families, so that the kingdoms were just handed to them. So once they were given as the rightful heirs to the throne, these kingdoms, they began to conspire amongst other kingdoms. Basically, they were making a ring around Hastinapur so that at some point they would take on that place. So as they were beginning these endeavors, Mother Bhumi became aware of what was happening. So she goes to Lord Brahma and she says, look, in the first pages of the Krishna book, it's said there that Bhumi, being aware that the earth has been overrun by demons, she goes to Lord Brahma to ask for help. So she does that. And Lord Brahma's like, wow, this is a bit over my head, so let's go to Lord Vishnu. So they go to the ocean of milk and they petition Lord Vishnu to appear to help them in this struggle. So he sends a message telepathically to Lord Brahma that he will come, and he wants all the demigods also to incarnate on the earth planet so that they can all work together to overcome the bad guys. So Krishna comes, and he, as a young boy, well, as an infant even, Kamsa was aware, again by divine arrangement, that the son of his sister is going to be the end of him, is going to be the death of him. So he took it upon himself to kill all the children that had been born in the last month or two, all over his kingdom. thinking that he would get rid of this little child who would grow to be his death. But his plan didn't work out according to how he was wanting. And Vasudeva and Devaki, they were able to get baby Krishna to Vrindavan. So he grew up there. And Kamsa was still concerned that he may not have got this little child that was going to be he called it the angel of death in the cartoons anyway. The angel of death. So Kamsa would send these demons to Vrindavan to find this little boy Krishna. And Krishna would, even as a small child, dispatch of these big, powerful guys, bad guys. And as he grew, he was invited to Mathura. And once he got to Mathura, he was able to face Kamsa face to face. And in that wrestling arena, Kamsa he made his match. And Krishna ended his sojourn in this world. So we can see how by the petition of his devotees, Krishna comes. Now, in the Bhagavatam, there's also a few chapters where this question comes up. It says, well, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says he's not partial to anyone. But here, it appears that he's partial to his devotees and not to the bad guys. So, is Krishna really impartial or is he partial? So Sukadeva Goswami answers that, saying that just like anyone, say a parent, his children are all very dear to him, but sometimes one of his children, they are more affectionate, they're more caring, they're more giving to the parents and to the family. So there's a sense of a little more endearment for that particular child. So in this way, Krishna is giving his mercy to everyone, but for those who want a little extra mercy, then that's the devotees. So he makes some special arrangements for those people, those souls. So Krishna can be impartial in other ways also, like in different forms that he takes, say like Lord Balaram. I've heard it said that Lord Balaram is he's like the uncle. Krishna is the parents, the mother and the father. So the mother and the father have to be a little strict and to raise the child properly. But the uncle, he's kind of got a different role to play. He's kind of like the joker. He can come in and, play, have some fun with the kids, and he doesn't have to get necessarily that involved in the chastising of the child. Sometimes he may, but so in the case of, say, Duryodhana, many people have said, so what is it with Balaram? Like he seems very, very close with Duryodhana. And Duryodhana, he's the bad guy. What's going on there? So this is Lord Balaram's role. He's like the uncle. Krishna is going to chastise him, but the uncle is he's still trying to encourage him to change his ways. And Krishna also was trying to encourage him to change his ways. Duryodhana was very stubborn in that. So the whole Mahabharata, or the Kurukshetra war, took place basically because Duryodhana's stubbornness and envy. So in these pastimes that we see here, it seems very fantastic, all the descriptions of these living entities that can just fly in the sky and they're throwing petals down onto the Earth planet. But these beings are coming from higher dimensions, higher realms, and they have these abilities. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport there that, we may be able to go into outer space, but we have so many problems with that. Like you just see recently those astronauts that were stuck in space, they couldn't get back down. And they had these before and after photos of, there's one of the ladies especially, like she looked like she aged at least 20 years, and she was there 6 months or something. She was like very markedly different in her appearance. So in space, there's a lot of impediments for us to stay there permanently. There's all these plans to live on Mars or whatever, but whether they'll ever do that, we'll see. Elon Musk has big plans, but so yeah, these pastimes may seem fantastic, but at the same time, if we can, even like on this planet, there are personalities, yogis that live up in the Himalayas. They can do these things also. It's not like it's just people from other realms or other planets. There's yogis who can travel, like in the Kumbh Mela. Lucas was just there. Prabhupada would say that they would drop in the Ganga and they go down the Ganga and then they just appear in the confluence of the rivers there, and then they just walk out. But they've come from hundreds of kilometers away. But just within a few seconds, they're there at the Kumbh Mela. So these mystic cities, mystic powers are there for the yogis. For devotees, Prabhupada would say that all these mystic cities will develop also within the personality of the devotees, but we don't necessarily exhibit them or use them for our adoration. People, especially like, if somebody can do something like that, people are very enamored by that. There's quite a few devotees who, I think Yamuna was one of her memories. She was saying they were walking in a park and there's dew on the ground, and she was trying to walk in Prabhupada's footsteps behind him. But after a while she realized there's no footprints in the dew. He was walking above the ground. And she looked around, she'd seen all the other devotees' footprints, all the marks are in the dew, but where Prabhupada was walking, there was no marks in the dew. So she was like, what's going on here? Like, it's Prabhupada. He looks like he's walking on the ground, but he's not necessarily touching the ground. So yeah, I think it's important to try and not get fixated on these particular things that we read in the Bhagavatam. Try and see the lesson, the bigger picture of what's being told here. So the bigger picture, for me, especially with these two verses that I just read, is that the universe and the personalities within it are here to glorify the Lord. And if we can adopt that mood ourselves, then our lives will be ecstatic. All right, I think I'll stop here. Any questions, comments? Mr. Tom.
So it says, Praesidas cha desa sarva or sarva, ambamsi cha manamsi cha. What I'm asking is, as like pertains to the poetry. Is there, and as we're chanting, it's Hare Krishna, Rama, Rama, and it seems like we've got Prasiddhas Cha, Disa, Sarva, Avamsi Cha, Manamsi Cha. What is the significance of that vow, and why do the writers have continue to use that sound? What are they trying to point at? What meaning are we trying to get from that?
Sanskrit's not one of my strong points, but I think, from what I understand, there's a meter to Sanskrit is poetry. You're a poet. I think that's probably why you're like that. But Sanskrit is sung. It's not. That's why there's a meter. That's why there's a way to pronounce it. And whether it's like you were using the example with the long A on the end, it always ends in an A. You're trying to say that, is there some significance with that?
Yeah, so
well, the vowels always are long. Well, not always, but generally, yeah. I think they are always long, or longer than a consonant.
Is there a particular feeling that is associated with R versus like O or C or?
No.
With that, they talk about the syllable Om and how it's A-U-M.
Yeah.
I heard, I can't remember who it was, maybe it was Mullah Mataji. She was saying that the R is is actually Krishna, and the O is, so the R is like the superior energy, the O is like the marginal energy like us, and then the M is the material energy. That's kind of what she was saying.
I'm not sure you got that. I think she was saying that the A is Krishna, the U is Radharani, and the M is Jiva. We'll have to check that. But, yeah.
Thank you for the class, Prabhu. You're speaking about Advaita Acharya being Mahavishnu, and he didn't feel capable of saving the conditioned souls, so he calls out to Krishna to come to save. So how do we understand this, being Mahavishnu, the creator of the universe? Is this just for pastimes, or can he actually not save the conditioned souls?
Well, he is capable, but yeah, just for the pastimes, and yeah. He in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada says that he was capable of doing it, but out of humility, out of the pastimes, he was crawling. But there was a lot of opposition. It's funny because, when Krishna appeared, he comes to re-establish religious principles and to basically reset everything. So we say 5,000 years ago Krishna came and Vedic culture was amazing, and but it actually wasn't. And a similar thing when Lord Chaitanya came. Everything was becoming very degraded, and there was only a few devotees really who were staunch at that time. And then everybody started to appear when Lord Chaitanya was coming.
You were saying in the beginning of the class that all the different planets in the material world meant for ultimate rectification of the living entity. And Srila Prabhupada described that also somewhere in Bhagavatam, that the material world set up in such a way that it brings him eventually to his knees and to, turning to Krishna and taking up the spiritual path. But it seems like in the heavenly planets that there's so much enjoyment. Like, we hear so much enjoyment in the heavenly planets. It's very hard for them to turn to the spiritual path. And in the hellish planets, they're suffering so much. It's very hard for them also. And the earthly planets more conducive because not so much suffering, not so much enjoyment. So one may ask, well, in the heavenly and hellish planets, doesn't seem to be suitable situation to rectify the living entity. How would you answer that?
Well, in the heavenly planets and the hellish planets, they're getting their rectification. Well, they're getting their just dues for their activities that they've performed in this earthly realm. So they're desiring to go to the heavenly planets. So they're performing pious activities through the instructions given in the Vedas. So they're able to go to the higher planets because that's their desire. So generally, there may be some understanding of the absolute truth, but the heavenly realm is their understanding. They're going there to enjoy. So that's what they want to do there. So Krishna gives them that facility. They are able to, obviously, from there go into their spiritual life more deeply. But as you say, it's because it's so much enjoyment. They kind of just like it's all good. And then conversely, for the guys going to the lower realms, they're getting their just dues as well for their activities. Basically they're going against the laws of nature, so there's a reaction for that. But just like Krishna says in the Gita, that someone with a demoniac mindset, he puts them into species of life where they can't make any offenses. They can't, they're basically a worm or something. So in those situations, there's a process of rectification by traveling through all the different species of life. And in the hellish realms also similar. They experience such horrible things, and they lose a lot of that bad karma. So then they come back to this realm, and if they learn their lesson, then they can advance. But that's about as good as I can do. Money?
Would seem that in the long run, it's ultimate rectification, whether they're the living entities in the heavenly planets or the hellish planets, because in the heavenly planets, after their good karma is exhausted, they fall back to this platform, and same with those in the hellish planets. Once they've suffered their bad karma, then they come back.
Yeah. 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 True. Yeah. The demigods there's many different grades of the demigods. Like to get the position of Indra or Brahma, they're not someone just performing a few pious activities. They're like very advanced souls. So to take those posts within the universe, said that I think it's 100. You got to perform 100 lifetimes of purely performing the Vedic rituals and everything to be able to get the post of Brahma. And sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, so Krishna's got to come himself. It's like these guys. All right. Anything else? Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki?